So today's webinar it's about our CoC's 2019 RFP. The due date is July 10th. I'll be going into the actual RFP and discussing all the items. But before I do so, I would like to explain some key concepts first, just in case people who are not involved with the continuum can understand some concept, which from what I'm seeing, the current attendees are mostly involved in the CoC. So I'm gonna go through the concept fairly quickly. So what is a CoC? CoC program is designated to promote community-wide commitment to the goal of ending homelessness. So the whole goal is end homelessness. And the eligible agency who can apply are non-for-profit providers, state and local government. And locally, we received $12.2 million last year. It distributes to 23 projects. If you go to our website, you'll be able to see who are the people getting the money. Actually, I am gonna go to our website. Oh, and also to learn more about the program, you can go to HUD website. This is the link in the PowerPoint. So under our website, under CoC funding competition, you should be able to see all the programs that we approved last year and all the programs that we got funded for. So this is the list. Although there's many programs were approved, but we are not able to access all of them. I mean, not all of them are funded for. So last year, these many 30 programs are approved by the CoC, but we only get 25 projects, which the number is different from what I just said because two of the program merged, so the total number become 23 instead of 25. So that's that. What is HMIS? So HMIS is a homeless management information system in Buffalo. It's we use Sky as our vendor. For domestic violence, for DV provider, we do require you to use a comparable database. So regarding to the requirement, there's two links on the PowerPoint that you could access. So this database require for so all the provider who receive CoC funding should either use a HMIS, the HMI system that we host, or a comparable database for DV provider. Again, these are the links to explain more what a DV comparable database look like and who should be using it. So what is coordinate entry? Again, I'm going to our website. Coordinate entry is a system that prioritizes people most vulnerable and to end homelessness. And there's a coordinate entry procedure on our website as well. So for program who are funded by the CoC, they all need to follow the same procedure that the CoC established. which means no one can only serve, for example, no one can only serve their own program participant in the shelter, for example. Um, all the um, all the referral should come from the coordinate entry process. But you are allowed to set up subpopulation. For example, if your subpopulation is people experience domestic violence, then your referral pool would only be people who experiencing domestic violence. We're not going to refer people are who does not have DV history to your program. So, but anyway, because most of you are involved in the CoC on the call right now, I'm not gonna go into too deep into this concept then. Okay, so this RFP has three different funding pool. I'm going to go to the actual RFP right now. So this is under our website, under CoC funding competition. You can see the actual request for proposal as well as the budget worksheet. I do want to let you know that the proposal does not have a link to our budget worksheet, but it's actually on our website. So this is the request for proposal. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we should be able to see this. Okay. Anyway, let me try to make it a little bigger. Okay. Again, the deadline is July 10th, and we do require people, organizations who have no current CoC contract, meet with us to discuss your proposal, so that we make sure you understand some of the requirements and fit the program and population needs. So in this RFP, there's three type of funding pool. The first type is reallocation fund. So for the reallocation dollar, that I would say this is a fairly secure funding, which means we are fairly sure that we will be able to, once it approved by the CoC, we are fairly sure that we will get this money approved from HUD. So the total is $270,000. It has to serve rapid housing for household with children. And we would like it to not have a subpopulation specifically. For example, we prefer proposal that is serving household with children. When I say without a subpopulation, I mean you may want to propose only serving, let's say, people with mental illness, but we will prefer this proposal be more general so that we're not excluding any household with children and meeting the need of the family. So that's the $270,000 to be served under rapid housing for family. So the second type of program, the second pool of money is called bonus dollar. As you can see from our competition list, from our ranking list, these are the program that we approved last year with with regular bonus. So it ranked from 25, 28, 29, 30. So the this pot of money is not secure. Um, from the previous experience, we may be able to award one project out of the bonus it's determined by HUD. So the criteria includes how is the CoC performing, if the project meet the minimum requirement, and things like that. So so the chance of getting this bonus money is not the highest, but every year we do have some hope a small amount could be awarded. So if you apply for $999,000, um, it, it it's not likely you'll be approved by the CoC, as well as you're not likely be awarded from HUD's perspective. Um, I don't have a magic number for you to apply, but we see more success in a smaller type of grants. The third part of money is DV bonus. So nationwide, there are $50 million available to create this domestic violence bonus. And based on last year's experience, we could apply up to $1.6 million. So this proposal must serve survivor of DV, dating violence, or stalking. Um, I believe human trafficking could possibly fit in this criteria as well. Um, the CoC the type of project that this funding is available for includes coordinate entry, transitional housing, rapid housing, and rapid housing. Any proposal applying for this funding must utilize coordinate entry system and use a housing first approach. And as I said earlier, the project also have to use a comparable database to record all the homeless information that is required by HUD. So any questions so far? I'm not seeing anything through the chat box. Just remind everyone, the chat box it's available on the right hand side. Feel free to submit question. So let me go back to my PowerPoint. So I did summarize a little bit on the type of project that each funding could apply. So with the reallocation dollar, again, it's 270,000. You cannot exceed this amount with this pot of money. And we also do not encourage you to apply for lower than that. It should be exact $270,000. So that's for rapid housing for family. When I say family, in this particular grant would be a household with children. So for the regular bonus, because HUD has not released the notification of funding. So we can only based on our estimation. So we estimated 900 thousand, roughly $900,000 would be available, roughly $1 million actually. Sorry. So the type of program that you could apply for under this pool of money is rapid housing, transitional rapid housing, and permanent support housing, as well as coordinate entry. So with the DV bonus, could be up to $1.6 million. The three project type would be coordinate entry, transitional housing, rapid housing, and rapid housing. So a lot of you in the registration express would like to know more about the scoring criteria. So that's where the scoring criteria is located in the CoC funding guide. If you scroll down to new project, so I would like to first express the importance of the threshold. If your project do not meet the threshold, we will not score you and you will not be approved to move forward into the next round. So the criteria includes you using coordinate entry system with the DV. If you're proposing a separate component for DV coordinate entry, you can also describe that process. Using a housing first approach and low barriers, which means you should not require treatment or require certain, for example, being sober at entry. So matching funds should be equal to 25% of the total budget, except leasing. So this could be cash or in-kind match. No more than 7% of program expenses budget can be used for admin costs. So for permanent support housing, we require you to use the coordinate entry, which means you will be dedicating 100% unit to chronically homeless or people who nearly meet the chronic homeless definition. So for rapid housing, project can only meet category 1 in the regular pool and meeting the category 4 in the DV bonus. Must use HMS or comparable database. So below that would be how each of the items score. You do need to demonstrate the unmet need, your program design, your proposed program outcome, population and previous performance, grant management experience, and so on, which it's probably easier to explain to you when we look at the actual RFP. So this is the actual RFP. First, you will need to select what type of program that you're applying for and what region you could serve. So our CoC cover Erie, Niagara, Genesee, Orleans, and Wyoming County. Because each of the funding type in this RFP is slightly different and what they can eligible to apply is also different. So I encourage you to make sure the one you're applying for it's allowed under that. For example, under reallocation, we are not allowed to it's not allowed to apply for permanent supportive housing. So, so things like that. Just make sure what you're applying for meets the funding type. Of course, you can check more than one box. So, for example, um, let's say rapid housing for DV, it doesn't have to be under the DV bonus. It could be under the regular bonus as well. Um, if you do not have a program right now, you obviously will check new project. But if you currently have a program that is similar to the one that you are applying for, you will check this expansion to existing renew program. But just a note, if you currently have, let's say, a transitional housing, but you are applying for this joint transitional permanent housing, that is not a expansion. So under each of the narrative, you can see the scoring listed in the funding guide matches the question in the actual application. We also encourage you to answer the question, marking all the sub-question under this big question. That will help you, that will help the viewer know that you answer all the questions first of all, as well as help them scoring you based on different answer, like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sub question under the question one, that will help them organize the scoring as well. So please make sure first answer all the question, but second, try to answer them right to the point instead of giving us a lot of information but not answering the question. I know you all write grants before. You may want to copy and paste other grant into this RFP, but if you do not answer this particular question clearly, you may not get point. So like this one also have question 1 and question 2. So because housing first is a requirement, even you don't have a housing program right now, I would encourage you to describe your proposed project, how this proposed project is going to use housing first model. But if you express that you are not going to use housing first, then you will not meet the threshold. Then we will not score you and your project will less likely to move forward into the next round. So with certain question, we're not expecting you to write a huge paragraph. For example, the referral process. As long as you answer, you're going to take client from coordinate entry and briefly describe how the coordinate entry works. Make sure it's a way for us to make sure you understand how the coordinate entry work. That's all. Like we are not looking for a long answer. So that's about that. As I said, the application itself is this document itself. The budget workbook is on our website. The rest of it you can provide as a PDF attached to the email. We do require digital submission. A hard copy submission will not qualify for even it meets the deadline. So we do prefer you to, we do require a digital submission by the deadline. some people will mail me this hard copy, but I hope you all submit digitally. Okay, let me see. So some people also ask question during registration, who is going to review the new application? So we have a project selection committee. It consists 14 independent members who do not receive any CoC funding. They are people who involved in the community. Some may retire from certain um, government program or bank or or organization that have relationship with not relationship but have experience with program that servicing either homeless population or just in general people in poverty. So so they definitely do not receive any funding. So they are the one that will be ranking and scoring all the program based on these criteria that we set up in the CoC funding guide, and they will rank all the program um, and review the program, see if they meet the threshold and score them. So let me see. I think that's the last slide. Okay. Any question regarding to what I just said, or it says my audio connection was off. Can people hear me? Okay. Yeah, okay. So it seems I'm back. Where did I start missing the audio? Do people want to hear? Oh, just 10 seconds. Okay. So I think we're good. I was just explaining the project selection committee. You probably hear that part anyway. Okay, so that's that. I'm just finishing up with what I plan on talking about. If anyone want to ask and have any question, please feel free to type in the chat box. Otherwise, we will be done. I'll stay in the webinar. If you, I mean, most of you probably have my email. If you have any question, feel free to email me. But asking here may help other people understand it better as well. If I didn't explain anything clearly, please feel free to ask in the chat box. But you also feel free to leave if you don't have any question or if you want to ask me later.